Aloha, welcome back to Hawaii News Now's The Debrief. I'm your host, Emily Cristobal, and today we are talking about local businesses on Maui amid the devastating wildfires. We're joined by H&N digital content producer Kaylin Hughes, who's here to talk about a story she's been working on about designers on Maui and how they are fostering community. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Emily. I'm so excited to talk about this story. It's been something that I've been wanting to do for a minute. I'm originally a Maui girl, and I'm also someone who is very interested in Hawaii-made fashion, specifically Maui-made fashion. And I wanted to follow a couple businesses post Lahaina wildfires and see how they're doing, and kind of touch base with them about the makers community, how Maui's makers are coming together post this horrific incident, and to hear some exciting things that are coming up for them.
Yeah, totally. Can you talk about some of the designers that you talk to and the businesses? What kind of clothes do they make and all of that?
Yes, of course. So I focused on 3 different businesses, one in Makawao, Kulua, then Karamia in Wailuku, and LaRue Atelier that was in Lahaina. And so each designer had a very different style, very different medium. LaRue Atelier was more custom-made couture, kind of boho chic. Kulua is more of Hawaiian-inspired textiles, and everything is made in-house with a big focus on sustainability. And Karamia is a lot of colorful, upcycled, vintage inspired, but also just like this amazing rainbow of a store that has so many different fun outfits and items for sale. And honestly, I specifically chose these 3 designers because I wanted them to be Maui-made designers that have a focus on sustainability. And that was just an overlying thread throughout the whole story.
Absolutely. One of the emphasis that you talked about is how these businesses have been affected, with the wildfires happening, obviously a very devastating situation. And, also, for those of the lives that were lost, but also the businesses and the struggles that are coming through amid all of this. Can you talk a little bit about that with the owners that you talked to?
One of the designers I focused on was Larissa Williams of LaRue Atelier. She was based in Lahaina, and she unfortunately lost her home and her business due to the Lahaina wildfires. And she had an amazing story. Her whole life got flipped around, but she had this incredible positivity to her.
Having the wind knocked out of my sails, I need to, it's one, finding confidence again to put myself out there and price it at what I need to, and just be able to talk about it and be comfortable with it. Like, so much of my life and conversations have just been the fire, the devastation, all running through these details, fighting with insurance, all this stuff. So like, when your brain finally gets a chance to stop, it's like you're just exhausted, and so I'm slowly finding that a creative outlet is helping heal that. It's a good balance to go from all that and lock myself in the little room and be like, okay, I'm going in.
Despite losing everything, all of her supplies, her entire business, she has such a good attitude and has found a new medium that she likes to work with, which is coconut bark. And she's created this whole collection of sustainable art using coconut bark. And it was just such an inspiring story to find something new, something that she would never have created before due to these horrific circumstances.
That's really a story of, resilience and being able to find new things amid such tragedy. And, power to her and seeing her thrive in that way. I wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the unique parts of these makers' art process. Can you talk a little bit about that?
One of the other designers that I feature was Karamia Davies-Reed of Karamia in Wailuku. And one of the things that she does in her art process is she puts up these giant tarps and allows anyone to come in and paint on them. And she hosts these amazing community nights in Wailuku that encourage anyone who wants to come through to paint. And she speaks a little bit to this about what it meant for some residents who, had gone through such sadness to have a moment to have just fun and create something. And so she can speak to that.
I looked over on my painting wall and there were 20 little kids and then adults over them doing the high spots. And it's these are just doing it. And some of them were splattering and crazy stuff, but so contained. So it's a very funny concept to be like, I have a really fancy boutique with really expensive clothes and paint. And it's like just seeing that like joy of everybody coming together and like painting and being happy. I've had people in from Lahaina, they're just like, I just want to like paint on your walls and be happy for a minute. And it feels like, if nothing else, just being able to be open for that. And then just like for myself, staying out of my head about it and realizing it's not like a reflection of me. It's just this moment in time.
And then what she does is she takes the item or the tarp, she takes the community sourced painting that everyone has collaborated on and cuts up that fabric and turns it into dresses. And she said that those are some of her favorite pieces.
I really love that idea, this idea of bringing together community, especially during this very difficult time. I think right now, more than ever, just being with others and being able to create something beautiful is just what everybody really needs right now. And being able to have a space where they're able to do that is just so amazing.
Absolutely. And the coolest thing I thought about this throughout the entire project is I went into it wondering about the economic impacts due to tourism, the decline in tourism because of the fires. But what I learned from all these designers individually was that it was the local Maui community that really stepped up. And it was residents spending, the little money that they had to support these local businesses because they knew these local businesses support Maui residents. It's this like amazing cycle, right? You buy something that's made in Maui and that helps support a Maui business, which then pays for residents who live in Maui to, live, and it just keeps going. And I think that was one of the things that was so cool, especially because I think so many people focus on the Maui art community, which is amazing and thriving, but I really wanted to highlight the Maui fashion community, and it was just so inspiring to see all these makers sort of rally together. And there was a sentiment repeated by many of the designers I talked to about how Maui supports itself, and I found that so inspiring. And so you can hear a little bit about that here.
The one big takeaway from the wildfires and all of that is community. Seeing our Maui community stand strong and stand together as much as they can is just like, that's why we do what we do and why it's important for us to be a part of our community and to keep our work here.
Thank you so much for all your reporting so far. As someone who loves fashion, I was hoping you could talk a little bit more about how important it is that not only Maui's being put on the spotlight for fashion, but Hawaii in general. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Something that I love about Hawaii is the fashion has always been so incredible and so unique. I think about with Maui specifically, something like palaka and how unique that is. And I've always been so captivated by Maui fashion. I think that Maui and Hawaii in general creates trends that, the world doesn't even know yet. And that honestly, I wish we could all gatekeep some of them before they blow up on the mainland. But I just think that's the coolest part is that it's always this tie to, with many local designers, it's a tie to culture, it's a tie to sustainability, it's a tie to history, and also, wearability and creating items that work in the climate we all live in. And I just think it's so interesting that it's like these wearable art pieces that are also something that we need to wear every day of our lives. And what was very special about this piece is that I focused on 3 different designers that had such completely different styles. So, if you read through this piece, I'm sure you'll find something that you want to buy. And what's especially cool, I think, is that while not all of us who are reading and wanting to support Maui live in Maui, a lot of these sellers sell online. And I think that that's a great opportunity for people to support Maui business without actually going.
Yeah, and how else can consumers, especially not on Maui, support these businesses? And why is it so important to shop local and Maui made?
It is extremely important to shop Maui made in order to support the Maui economy. A lot of these creators and businesses were just recovering from the 2020 pandemic and the aftermath of that with the decline in tourism. And so now is the time to really step up for Maui residents. A sentiment repeated over and over again at the beginning stages of Lahaina and the wildfires was, it is a marathon, not a sprint. I think it's important that we keep our eyes on Maui and Maui-made fashion designers, food, anything you can purchase. A lot of these businesses have online e-commerce stores, have online e-commerce shops, and that's a really great opportunity. I also think if you have the means and abilities, you should do a little Maui staycation. One of the designers, Karamia, actually had a great quote about visitors coming to Maui that I'd love to play.
I think that one of the most important things is like when you are traveling to Maui is to being really like conscious about like where you go and what you do. Like, and this is just, I feel like on all of our islands, we need the people that come here that care. That like find the cute places, that eat at the restaurants that are locally owned, that like don't just stay at these mega resorts, like sucking up resources, like really be conscious about being in an environment and in a community and try to like give back to that community.
But mostly I think it's also important with a lot of these Maui-made designers, with their focus on sustainability, they actually have lower carbon footprints than other fashion we can get. We're reducing the carbon impact. We're helping the environment. We're also helping Maui businesses. It's like just a win-win-win. Like it's such a great thing to do. And again, they have such amazing, wonderful stuff. I think that with these designers in particular, every item that they make is truly one of a kind. And it was just such an honor to get to meet these designers and to get to highlight them.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And you really highlighted sustainability in all of this. Can you talk a little bit about their sustainability practices? As, a lot of people know that the fashion industry can be one of the most highly polluting industries in the world. So what are these businesses doing differently to help limit those impacts?
I think what's so special about these designers is because they're from here, they already have this understanding about how important sustainability is, specifically in Hawaii. And we all know, as you mentioned, fashion can be a huge polluter. It can be a very toxic industry for the planet, for consumers, for the workers behind it. And to see these designers either create things out of vintage, upcycled, maybe even what one could perceive as garbage or just unusual materials, or to completely make their products in-house, their fabric, cutting the patterns, the textiles, all of that good stuff, was really inspiring. And one of the ones I loved was Kulua up in Makawao. They take all of their scraps at the end and make these little fabric lei kits to sell. And so it's truly no waste. And I think that the designer can speak a little bit more to that as well.
The sustainability piece is really important to me as well, mainly because from the get-go, I knew that I wanted to keep it as local as possible as far as manufacturing went and producing and all of that, because I saw it as something that was bigger than me, that could have a bigger impact than just me, but we could create jobs and create a community.
And ultimately, it's just a great thing to do for both Hawaii and fashion. And you look cute doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned so much through just, talking about your story. Where can people read more about it?
So the title of my story is Maui Fashion Designers Weave a Network of Support, Belonging in a Wake of Devastating Wildfires. You can read the whole thing on hawaiinewsnow.com. And I would encourage you to check out the designers' links from there. A great way to support Maui business, other than shopping, of course, is interacting with them on social media, helping to promote them, and then, of course, just spreading awareness. So that is and just to keep our energy on Maui as well. I think that that's something we can all do to help.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kaylin, for all of your reporting, and looking forward to more of this.
Thank you so much, Emily. It was a pleasure.
You can watch and listen to more of the Debrief at hawaiinewsnow.com or wherever you get your podcasts. This is your host, Emily Cristobal, and mahalo for listening.